Do you feel it? That quiet, gnawing unease in your gut when she no longer looks at you the same way. That moment when the texts slow down, when her smile doesn't reach her eyes, when the warmth in her voice cools to something polite, almost distant. You tell yourself you're imagining it, that you're overthinking, but deep down, you already sense it. Something is slipping away. I need you to listen carefully now, because what I'm about to reveal could save you from a heartbreak you never saw coming. The truth is, women rarely announce when they are losing interest. They don't always say the words, "I'm done." Instead, they reveal it through subtle signals, quiet withdrawals, and invisible walls. And most men, blind to those signals, only wake up when it's already too late. Here's the first truth you were never supposed to know. Women test interest with silence, not words. When she starts pulling back, she won't scream it. She will whisper it in her actions. She'll stop asking about your day. She'll stop fighting for your attention because she no longer cares if she has it. And yet, many men confuse this silence as peace. They mistake her pulling away as her simply being busy. But here's the brutal reality. When her mind drifts elsewhere, when her emotions detach, her heart begins closing off, one small piece at a time. I want you to imagine something. Think about the way she looked at you in the beginning, that spark in her eyes, that fire of curiosity, that hunger to know you. Now compare it to today. Does she still look at you like that? Or has it turned into something dull, distracted, even empty? If you've noticed that shift, you're not crazy. You're witnessing the slow unraveling of her emotional investment. And this is the part most men miss. A woman can still be physically present while being emotionally gone. She'll sit beside you, but her mind will be elsewhere. She'll nod to your words, but won't truly hear them. She'll laugh politely, but won't feel it in her bones. That's how interest fades, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet, steady erosion. If you felt this, you need to open your eyes now, because if you don't, you risk being blindsided by the end. When a woman starts losing interest, the first thing you'll notice isn't rejection, it's indifference. Understand this. Rejection still requires energy. It means she still feels something strong enough to push you away. But indifference? That's the graveyard of emotions. It's when your presence or absence no longer moves her, when your words don't land, when your efforts don't register. That is the most dangerous place a man can find himself in, because once indifference sets in, she has already stepped one foot outside the relationship. Think carefully about the last time you saw her excited to be around you. Did she light up when you walked into the room, or did she barely look up from her phone? Did she lean in when you spoke, or did she scroll, nod, and drift into her own thoughts? Men often ignore these details, convincing themselves everything is fine, but women rarely lose interest all at once. It fades slowly, disguised as little shifts. She might not complain as much anymore, and you think that's a good sign, but the silence isn't peace, it's detachment. A woman who still cares will fight, argue, or demand change. A woman who's losing interest goes quiet because she no longer believes the fight is worth it. Here's the second truth you were never supposed to hear. Women lose interest when they stop feeling seen, valued, and understood. Attraction might spark the fire, but emotional connection keeps it alive. When she feels invisible, when she feels like you no longer notice the small details about her, she begins to retreat. She won't always say it out loud, but she will show it in the way she invests less energy into you. She starts dressing up less for your dates. She doesn't ask for your opinion anymore. She shares less of her dreams, her fears, her secrets. These are not random changes. They are her silent confession that the bond is loosening. And this is where many men go wrong. They react to her pulling back by chasing harder, texting more, begging for reassurance. But here's the paradox. The more you chase someone who's withdrawing, the faster they run. You cannot convince a woman to feel something she has already stopped feeling, but you can wake up, recognize the signs, and adjust before the distance becomes permanent. One of the most painful truths is that women don't always leave when they lose interest. Sometimes they stay, physically present, emotionally absent, while quietly preparing their exit. And if you don't recognize this stage, you'll be left confused, blindsided, and broken. You'll ask yourself, what went wrong? She never said anything, but the signs were there all along. Pay attention to her effort. Interest always expresses itself through investment. In the beginning, she gave you her time, her energy, her vulnerability. She asked questions, planned things, surprised you. But when she starts losing interest, the effort shrinks. Suddenly, she cancels plans more often. She takes longer to respond to your messages. She doesn't bring up the future anymore. Her attention drifts, and the little things she once did to show you care disappear. She may still show up, but without enthusiasm, without warmth, without the energy that makes love feel alive. Here's another truth no one tells you. Women rarely just fall out of love. It happens because the relationship stopped feeding her emotional needs. She doesn't stop caring overnight. She stops caring after countless moments where she felt unheard, unseen, or unappreciated. For men, love often survives on loyalty, history, or comfort. But for women, love survives only where there is emotional growth, connection, and recognition. When that fades, so does her desire to stay. The biggest mistake men make in this stage is ignoring the lack of effort and convincing themselves it's temporary. They'll say, she's just stressed, or she's busy with work. And while sometimes that's true, if the pattern continues, it's not stress, it's disinterest. And here's the cruel irony. By the time you finally notice, she may already have emotionally detached so deeply that no amount of fixing can pull her back. Imagine this. A plant doesn't die overnight. It withers slowly when it's no longer watered. At first, the leaves droop, then the color fades. Then one by one, the leaves fall until the stem stands lifeless. That's exactly how her interest dies. Quietly, invisibly, until one day you realize she's gone, even if she's still in the room with you. If you've begun to see this in her, you cannot afford to dismiss it, because the longer you ignore it, the colder she becomes. Now let's talk about one of the clearest signals men overlook: emotional availability. A woman who's invested in you will share her thoughts, her frustrations, her dreams, and even her fears. She'll let you into her inner world because she trusts you to hold it with care. But when she begins losing interest, those doors start to close. Conversations become surface level. She avoids talking about the future. She stops telling you about her day in detail. Instead, you get short answers, distracted replies, or the dreaded nothing when you ask what's wrong. That silence isn't emptiness, it's distance. She's slowly pulling her emotions out of the relationship, brick by brick, building walls where there used to be windows. Here's the third truth most men never see. A woman doesn't pull away because she wants to hurt you. She pulls away because she no longer feels the connection that once anchored her to you. And when she feels that disconnect, she doesn't argue to fix it. She detaches to protect herself. Think of it like this. When a woman is invested, she fights for the relationship. She demands attention. She calls out what bothers her. She pushes for resolution. But when she stops fighting, when she no longer brings up issues, it's not because everything is fine. It's because she stopped believing it's worth the effort. That's the quiet death of interest. Men often misinterpret this stage as peace. They think, she's not nagging me anymore. Things must be better. But it's the opposite. Silence is not peace. It's resignation. When she no longer believes you'll change, when she no longer expects you to notice her needs, she doesn't fight. She checks out. And here's where you must be brutally honest with yourself. Is she still letting you in emotionally? Or has she begun closing off, giving you less of her heart and more of her polite mask? The answer to that question tells you everything. Because when a woman feels emotionally distant, her body may still stay near, but her spirit is already walking away. This is why men who miss these signs always feel blindsided. They thought things were calm, when in reality the storm had already passed, and what remained was silence. There's another sign you can't afford to ignore: her energy toward you compared to her energy toward others. When a woman is still invested, she wants to share her best with you. Her laughter, her stories, her excitement, it all flows in your direction. But when her interest fades, that energy shifts. Suddenly, she's more engaged with her friends than with you. She's glued to her phone when you're together, but lights up in group chats. She's distant in your presence, but overflowing with life elsewhere. It's not that she's incapable of giving energy, it's that she no longer wants to give it to you. This is the fourth truth no one tells men. A woman's attention is the purest currency of her interest. You'll know where her heart is by where her energy goes. If she's no longer sharing her joy with you, if she doesn't come to you first with news, if she doesn't seek you out for comfort, then she has already started to emotionally reallocate herself. And that's when the danger becomes real, not because she's found someone else, but because she no longer sees you as her emotional home. Men often try to fix this by overcompensating, planning big gestures, buying gifts, forcing conversations. But here's the paradox: when you try too hard to drag her back, it only proves to her that the connection is gone. Why? Because genuine attraction thrives in ease, not effort. In the beginning, you didn't have to convince her to laugh, share, or lean into you. It happened naturally. But when that natural flow disappears, effort feels forced, and she pulls back even more. Think about this. When you're her source of excitement, she doesn't need external validation. She doesn't need endless distractions because your presence is enough. But when she loses interest, she fills that void with everything except you: more work, more friends, more scrolling, anything to avoid the stillness between you, because that stillness now feels empty. If you've noticed this shift, it's not something to ignore. It's a warning. Because once her energy finds a new outlet, once she learns to live without giving you her emotional attention, her absence will feel strangely normal to her. And when absence feels normal, leaving becomes easy. The hardest truth of all is this: by the time you finally see the signs, she may already be halfway gone. A woman rarely vanishes overnight. She fades piece by piece until the man she once adored becomes a stranger sitting across from her. And here's what hurts the most: you will remember every moment you ignored, every time you told yourself, "She's just busy," or "She'll come back around." You'll replay the conversations you brushed off, the silences you didn't question, the nights you sat beside her thinking everything was fine, when deep down she was slipping further away. But this isn't about despair, it's about awareness. If you see these signs early, you have a choice. You can wake up, pay attention, and rebuild the connection before it's too late. You can choose to truly see her, to value her, to give her the emotional presence she craves. Because women don't lose interest in men who make them feel safe, seen, and desired. They lose interest when those things vanish, and the man who refuses to recognize that always ends up shocked, asking himself how he lost her, when in reality, he lost her long before she walked away. Here's the last truth I'll leave you with. Relationships don't die in explosive fights. They die in quiet neglect. They die when two people stop noticing each other, when the small moments of connection disappear, when love is assumed instead of nurtured. If you feel her pulling away right now, don't dismiss it. Don't numb yourself with denial. Face it. Ask yourself honestly, am I still showing up as the man she fell for, or have I grown complacent, blind, and deaf to her needs? Because the difference between saving a connection and losing it forever lies in whether you're willing to see the signs before the end arrives. Now I want to hear from you. Be honest. Have you ever felt a woman losing interest in you? And how did you handle it? Leave your story in the comments. Don't keep this truth to yourself. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it before it's too late. And if you found value here, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and let's keep uncovering the truths no one else will ever tell you.